This is probably the first screen that you'll come to. So basically what you have to do is to double click on the world map at the top there. Now what we're going to do is set the departure. So you see set departure, click on that. We're going to be flying from Manchester, so we'll click on Manchester. And we need then to select somewhere to be parked up. So we'll be departing from this runway here, which is 23 right. So therefore I'm going to park up down here, so there's not very far to taxi to arrive at 23 right. So we'll park up at ramp 52, set that as departure, and gate parking 52, ramp for GA large aircraft, so that's fine. And you can see here there's the green little dot showing where we're parked. Now we're going to press fly. One thing that I must say is that I am a PPL with an IMC rating, a twin rating and a night rating. However, I'm not a airline pilot, and I haven't flown real time for a long time because it's just so expensive now. I just now fly the simulator. So I will be doing a lot more videos, but flying different aircraft and different airfields in different parts of the world. But I'm by no means an expert, and I'm doing the best I can here from a novice point of view, flying the A3, the Airbus actually, well in this case the A350, the inibuilds A350. So please bear with me. So now I'm parked at parking spot 52, which is for general aviation, well sorry, for large aircraft. It says GA, I think that's meant for smaller aircraft, but anyway, we'll park here anyway, because it's nearer to runway 23 just for the taxi, and makes it more convenient. I'm now going to press fly, and that will take us to the aircraft on the actual parking spot, okay? I'm now going to press ready to fly. Basically, there's a little problem here because when I did the second half, it was in daylight, and I realised that I'm doing this part again because I had a lot of problems, and this is in well, early evening, so I'm afraid that there's a slight mismatch. But anyway, I'll go through the startup procedures, etc., and setting up the MACD and the FMC. Okay, so we're going to check that the engine switches are off. They're in the off positions, there and there. The engine start is set in the off position, which is up here. The throttle is set to idle, by the way. The next thing we're going to do is set that the windscreen wipers are off. And we check that the spoilers are in the on position. And check that the batteries are on. And now we're going to turn on the external power on the right side and external power on the left hand side. Switch over here, and we now have to do the IRS alignment. That's the inertial reference system. It's the most critical navigation related function on the overhead panel, and we're setting the inertial reference system, the IRS selectors. So we select at the top left hand corner, we select the left to nav. We select the right hand one, which is number 3, to nav. Then we select the middle one to nav, and what we'll do is now we'll turn on the oxygen supply for the crew. So that's been done. We'll turn on the beacon because that tells everyone that we're about to start the engines. We've done that. Okie dokie. we're now going to turn on serve. We want the transponder on auto, and we'll leave the squawk ident at 2000 for now. I mean, it will be set properly, but we're not using any air traffic control, so we don't know what this squawk would be. I think the next thing is we leave the TCAS on norm, and we'll leave the TA on TARA, so hopefully that's okay. We're now in the electronic flight bag, so this is where the actual planning will take place, and it's going to be automatic. So we'll click on flight ops plan, which is here, and we need to put in the departure, which is EGCC, which is Manchester, and we're going to London Heathrow, which is EGLL, and the airline will be Papa Tango Whiskey, and the flight number will be 1426, and the call sign will be Papa Tango Whiskey 1426. And the next thing we need is the reg number, so we'll go for the moment to the this down here, which is OFP, the flight plan, and there it is. The if you look under PTW 1426, the actual registration number is Golf November Whiskey X-ray Bravo. So now go back to now. We need to put in the registration, which is Golf November Whiskey X-ray Bravo. We can lose the keyboard now, and we can now generate the flight plan. The cost index here is 1.5. The cost index is a parameter that balances time and fuel costs, and you can find a suggested CI or cost index from a flight plan like SimBrief. A lower CI results in slower speeds and lower fuel consumption, while a higher CI prioritizes speed over fuel efficiency. For casual simming, a CI or etc. is around 30 to 50. That's a good starting point, while SimBrief often suggests higher numbers, around 109, when automatically planning a flight. That's about cost index. Right, back to the McDo, and we'll FMS1 active, and we'll press init. It says here company flight plan request. If we press on that, it will request the flight plan that we've loaded in automatically in the electronic flight bag. We're saying we received the company flight plan, we're asking it to insert it, and there it goes. I have gone back to the electronic flight bag because I noticed in the flight log they want us on 05 left, so I now want to change that to 23 right. So I've gone back to the electronic flight bag to take off performance, so hopefully I can change the runway here. So airport is EGCC, and select the right 23 right. We're now selecting 23 right. On the init page again, so here I want to set, I'll look at the IRS, it's all available, so we're all aligned with. Now we're going to departure, and we wish to leave from 23 right on the ILS. We're going to use the Listo 2 right to right SID, standard instrument departure. We're going to put that into the temporary flight plan. We're going to insert that temporarily. We're now going to go to EGLL Manchester. We're going to land, we want to land actually at 27 right, and we want to use the 27 right ILS approach, and we will via Bobington BNN, and we want to go via this arrival, which is HON 2H. So we now insert that temporary flight plan, insert temporary again, and that will go to green. So you look here and you'll see that everything is set, it's all in green. So we're at Manchester Airport. We go out from Ballisto down to Homiley, down to Toby, down to Soapy, down to Westco, and then Bovingdon, and then we press here to continue, and we then go down into the approach section. So that's all set. So the next thing we have to do is to look at performance. So we haven't got any V speeds yet. So basically we now go back to the electronic flight bag, and we go to the takeoff performance, and we press sync FMS, and if we press sync here, that will put the information in there that we need. We can now compute that. It will give us our, there we are, it's given us our V speeds. We have V speeds at 134, 140 and 146, and we have flaps at 1F, and we have flex at 57. So that is now done. So we now send that to the FMS, or the flight management computer, send that across. That's been sent, so hopefully that's all in there. So let's have a look in the do now. There it is, 134, 140, 146. We have flaps at 1, we have flex at 57 degrees. We can now press confirm to put the speeds in, so they're now there, 134, 140, 146. So that's done. So now let's think what we do next. We go to fuel and load. So we need, right, we need the zero fuel weight, we need the zero fuel weight here, we need the block fuel there. So we go back to the electronic flight bag, we go to the load sheet, and what we'll do is we'll sim brief import all those numbers. We have 324 passengers. We press now zero, set zero fuel weight and set fuel, and we'll go for instant refuel. That's now complete. So the numbers we have now are for zero fuel weight, we have 362.0, and for fuel load we have 11177. But so zero fuel weight, we had that as 3621. So if I press that, I think I can use the keyboard now. I press the left control, and I think I can now use the keyboard. So if I put keyboard, there we are, 362.1. Block fuel is 11.2. Well, let's go back to the electronic flight bag again, have a look at the, we'll enter that. I'm going for 29.91 in the box here. Enter. Back here, so we've entered 362.1. Now in here we'll put in 11.2. Enter. And block. I've entered 111.7, whether it's right or not I just don't know. I'm going to now go to enter that. Enter. And I'm putting in 233 passengers. I'm just turning all the fuel tanks. I've got a warning that tells me battery 1, 2, they're off, so I'm selecting back on again. On. Okay, so the batteries should be on now. I'll go back to have a look at the, there we are. If you see over here, there are no sort of orange lights on this screen here. So we should be okay to go, basically. And there it's showing as the flight plan is loaded. Alright. The next thing we do is to actually go back to the exterior of the aircraft. I have the pushback set to the P button on my keyboard. I'll show you later on how to do that sometime, but for now, let's say it's set. So quickly, we'll go back to the electronic flight bag. We'll go back to ground. Chocks away. GPU away. There we are. I had to start the engines by pressing E, which is a bit of a cheat. I know that. The engines are now starting. It looks like they're now available. If you look here, the engines are now available, both available. You shouldn't really do the engine start until you're on the actual pushback. Anyway, I've done that just for convenience. So just learn by mistakes. Okay, thank you. Right, back outside. There we are. P for the pushback. Keeps moving. Brakes are on. You can see here brakes are on. I'll now put brakes off. We are now being pushed back. I've put the brakes on, pressing P for the pushback from our levers, and in the real world you eventually see a little man from somewhere down there waving a pin in the air which shows that he's removed the pin. So the tug is leaving us now. I'm going to put this in daylight for the taxi. Just put a more sensible. Right, 11:03 in the morning, it's now daylight, so we can now start taxiing up to runway 23, right? I don't think there's anything else we have to do at the moment. Or I've forgotten a lot of things, but anyway, let's just proceed with the actual taxi now. Brakes off. A little bit of power. Start turning to the right. You can see now we're on the takeoff roll, and we've got the throttles set to flex.
V1.
And that was V1. We now have positive climb, so the gear goes up down on the right hand side there. We've engaged autopilot, and within a few seconds we'll be turning on a left heading, which will take us on to the standard instrument departure. See, we're now turning left onto the standard instrument departure, which is down towards Listow. We have the throttles set at climb. Basically what you do is to leave the throttles set at climb for the whole flight, and the flight management computer will handle all the actual speeds and the headings for you. You see also on the nav screen down there, you'll see like a purple insert. That's one of the constraints. We're actually climbing away at about 240 knots at the moment. And we're climbing to initially 5,000 feet. We're now leveling off at 5,000 feet. It's flashing QNH, so it's probably time to actually set the QNH to standard, but we'll look at that in a second. There's the flight plan. It tells you all the speeds we should be at, which are being managed by the flight management computer. It tells you all the altitudes we are supposed to hit. We're supposed to be at, say, 10,000 feet at SBDLIM. Top of climb, you can see there is 19,000 feet. and I have everything set in managed mode at the moment. Flaps are already up. If you can see down on the right hand side, it says serve TCAS standby. I'm not sure what that means. And fuel weight data disagree. Well, I've probably not set the fuel properly. That's something else I've got to learn more about. We're still level at 5,000 feet. We're now climbing to 1,900 feet, so that's flight level 190. There's a useful map we saw just then on the actual electronic flight bag. It's a moving map, so you keep moving on that map along the track. And now the QNH is set on standard. You can see at the top there, top middle standard STD. And the first officer's side will be set at standard also. And the standby instrument down there in the middle, that should also be set at, it's set at standard. So we're at SBD LIM at the moment. So just come up 10,000 feet, 100 set flight level 100, and still climbing until we reach top of climb TEC, which will be 19,000 feet. You can see the purple airplane on the map there moving. Overhead panel, everything seems okay. Strange lighting, don't know why, but there we are. Left window, I have the view set on my number keypad. And again, I will show you how to do that maybe in the next video, or I may show you at the end of this video. It's useful to have because I've set my 4 key on the left hand window, exterior, looking outside, and looking outside the right window I've got the 6 key. So on the 4 key you've got a left arrow pointing left, on the 6 key you have a right arrow pointing right. So they're good, numbers to have set for the looking left and right. I've got the overhead panel set on 8. I've got the electronic flight bag set on 7. Got the standard view looking over the cockpit window at 5. I've got the McDo set on 0. It's very good to be able to just not have to set, use a control key or anything like that. You just use the keys on the keypad, and they'll just put the view that you need, that you've actually set immediately. There's Navigraph. 'Cause, 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 Now I believe that little blue downwards line in front of us, I think that's top of climb, so we should be at 19,000 feet, and we have maybe 8 miles to get to before we get to that blue line, so we might have to adjust the climb rate. I'm not quite sure yet, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. Have it set to 40 miles, the actual nav. Nice view of the actual aircraft itself, exterior, flying the 900, A350 900. Fabulous scenery in Flight Sim 2020. Yeah, we're not far off the 19,000 feet now. Right, it's coming up. Right, we should level out now at 19,000 feet. Yeah, well, we're leveling out, yes. And we just overshot top of climb by a little while, but it wasn't too bad. Right. Hon next. And after toe bid, that's top of descent. That's when we start to actual descend. And top of descent is about 26 miles away at the moment. It says fuel left and right wing level. I'm just ignoring all the fuel warning at the moment. I'll work that out for a different video. I learn by my mistakes. So you just thank your lucky stars I'm not flying you on an actual flight right now to your holiday destination.
I cannot travel.
We are near Hon. We're at 19,000 feet. And we're now turning left to carry on the flight plan. I actually use my WinWing hardware to control the panel at the top, the actual autopilot. 12 miles away from top of descent when we start our descent. And hopefully the McDo will actually control that descent for us. But let's wait and see what happens. You can see flight directories on, autopilot 1 is on, auto thrust is on. And it's now set to bring us down to 15,000 feet. You can see on the out there. The three buttons you see there, SPD speed, HDG heading, out ALT. If those buttons are pressed in, you're flying in managed mode. And that's managed by the actual flight computer. If you pull those knobs out, you can actually control the speed yourself, the heading yourself, and the altitude yourself. And also the other one on the right hand side, VS, that controls your vertical speed up and down by pulling that out and setting the vertical speed to whichever you please. Eventually, when we reach the star, the standard arrival, we'll press LS on both sides, and eventually we'll press approach. Then the more or less on the right hand side under vertical speed at the moment. You can see we are descending. We're at Soppit at the moment and descending, or we should be at 15,000 feet at flight level 150. And next is 12,300 feet, and then to be at 7,000 feet by Bovingdon, and by 4,960 feet by Biggin. Yeah, we'll probably make Soppit at 15,000. You can see that auto thrust has brought down the engine settings quite low for the descent. Now they're going back up again because we're at 15,000 feet. You can see them climbing there to level us out. Back in climb now, back in climb settings. Now we're decelerating again to continue our descent. So we're now going down from 15,000 to 12,300 at Wesco. and for 7,000 feet at Bovingdon. So we're at Soppit going towards Westco now. 15,000 feet. Indicated airspeed is 260 knots. It's asking us to extend speed brake, maybe because we're not hitting the profile. We now need to descend to 7,000 feet for Bovingdon. See, Bovingdon's in front of us there. I think they're ahead. There we are. We've just left Westco towards Bovingdon, BNN. And also it looks like we need to be at speed 180 at Bovingdon also. Here we're descending. It's a very strange approach we've got set. I need to look at that again later on. The next time I do this, I'll try and set a different approach, because that's very strange, that one. It looks like we're actually above the profile. Down on that screen showing the actual flight plan, you'll see there's a little yellow aircraft there, and then you have the actual profile below it in green. Now it looks like we're maybe about 250 feet above the actual profile, so maybe I have to extend the speed brakes a little bit, but we'll see. No, it looks like we're more than that above the actual profile. It looks like we're maybe, I don't know, 3,000 feet above the profile. Anyway, let's see what happens. We're just nearly overhead Bovingdon. And you'll see that it won't follow the actual flight plan that's on Navigraph. It'll follow the flight plan that's in the McDo, that's on the screen in the aircraft, which will be different to the ones that's in the Navigraph, but it doesn't matter because it still gets us there and it still gets us down. But I will be more careful next time. There we are, see? So we've gone down to 9,005. Looks like we're at idle in the engine settings. I have increased our rate of descent. Yes, we're departing from the actual plan that's on Navigraph, and we're following the flight plan that's actually the McDo. So yes, it will actually get us on that approach that's on the McDo, on the flight management computer. It will use that actual approach. It's very unusual, I think. Speed limit exceeded. Not sure how we've done that, but anyway. And now we're into this unusual turn on the actual approach, which doesn't really make any sense. Why would you want to do that? But anyway, see what happens.
2,500.
We now have flaps 2 deployed. And the QNH has been set to the local QNH, off standard. I think standard is 29.29, I think. I'm not sure what that is in hectopascals. Look at all the oranges. I've got to find out later on what they actually say, what they're about. LS is now set. Approach is now set.
Descend, 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 crossing, descend, descend, crossing, descend. Clear of conflict. 2,500.
The gear is still retracted. We're still on flaps 2. We'll be coming around the bend fairly soon.
2,000.
Gear's gone down now. You see on the right hand side the gear leader's gone down. I think we might be in flaps 3 now. Well, we're coming round the bend, start to turn, and we should soon be established on finals. Flaps 2 are set at the moment. And that looks like maybe the city ahead of us.
Flight slow. Flight slow.
I now have both autopilots turned on because I'll be doing a automated landing. I've taken the easy way out. Sorry. But for landing, what you do basically is you descend down to about 30 feet. At 30 feet, you just pull the nose up a little bit, and then pull the throttle all the way back to idle, and then let it settle, and be ready to put down the nose wheel. That's the usual technique for the Airbus. Well, it looks like we're on finals now. The gear down, flaps down. Still flaps 2, so we should be good to flaps 3 fairly soon. Oh, the approach button has gone off. Oh, it's back on again. Okay. Okay, we're back in approach mode. There we are, we're configured for landing, gears down, flaps are down. And there's the airport, Heathrow Airport, right in front of us. And 27 left.
One thousand.
Should be at flap 3 now. And round about now we should be at full flap really.
500. 400. 300.
Too low, flaps.
200.
Too low, flaps. Too low, flaps.
100.
Too low, flaps.
90. 80. 70. 60.
Too low, flaps.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
Happy landings. Welcome to Heathrow.